homie.
What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and today we're going to continue our discussion breaking down how all of the 2022 World's Strongest Man competitors stack up against each other in terms of their success at events that will be happening at World's Strongest Man 2022. So today we're going to continue our discussion with the stone off, more generally speaking, the Atlas stone, right? Because not everybody's done a stone off, and if you're good with Atlas stones, you're good with Atlas stones. So we'll go with that premise. Now, just reminding you, the Atlas stones in the finals will have a run-in. The Atlas stones in the groups or the qualifiers will be the last man standing type stone off, which is a bit controversial. A lot of people don't necessarily like it, but the way that works, just to remind you, is you have your 6 gentlemen in each group. The one who wins the group goes through to the finals. The second and third place finishers in that group face off against each other in the last man standing stone off, meaning that the third place finisher will lift a stone over some sort of post or pole, and then the second place finisher will need to just match that. So the second place finisher gets a slight advantage. They just have to match everything the third place finisher does. If the third place finisher fails, then they're out. Second place finisher goes through to the finals. If the second place finisher fails to match a Atlas stone lift at a given weight that the third place finisher does, then he is out, and the third place finisher goes through. So we're going to take a look at how everybody has performed in the last 3 to 3.5 years or so in terms of Atlas stones and where they rank against each other in terms of their success rate. Then we can talk about how that might translate over into Worlds and whether we need to tweak that a bit when we get into our predictions later on this week. But for now, let's take a look at the rankings. So if we start off at the very top of the list with our best performers and work our way down, we have Martins Litzis at the very top of the list with a 97.5 rating. So Martins did Atlas stones at 2019 World's Strongest Man and 2019 Giants Live Wembley, winning both of those. The only reason he doesn't have a perfect score is because Giants Live Wembley I consider a world qualifier, 1 step down from world level or a half step down from world level. So he gets dinged just a slight bit, but I have him at the top of the list. So you may say to yourself, how is Tom Stoltman not at the top of the list? Well, we'll see in a moment why he isn't. You could make an argument that he'll win anyway, and let's see. But I'll tell you right now, he's very close to the top of the list. Brian Shaw is next with an 86.1 rating. So he did Atlas stones at 2019 World's Strongest Man, 2020 World's Strongest Man, 21 World's Strongest Man, and 2019 WUS Dubai. So here are all his ratings here. And they're all really high except for 2019 World's Strongest Man, which is still above average. Other than that, Brian Shaw, as you know, exceptional with stones. Pretty famously came in third at World's Strongest Man with Atlas stones last year. Maxime Boudreau edged him out for that second position, and that's what this one is here. 80 percentile would be 8 points out of a possible 10 points, so that's what you see there. Then, of course, you have who everybody considers the king of stones, Tom Stoltman. Tom Stoltman has an 82.39 rating, so not far behind the other two guys. But let's see how this all breaks out and why the rating is what it is and why it may not tell the whole story. Same with some of the other competitors. So Tom Stoltman did Atlas stones at 2019 Europe's Strongest Man. Then he did it at a bunch of Britain. So 2019, 20, 21, and 22 Britain's Strongest Man. So the reason I'm saying this is a little bit deceptive is that he won all of those, right? All these hundreds means he won all of those. But since they were regional contests, his rating gets dinged for not being world level. Now, what I may consider doing, and you can let me know in the comments below if you feel I should go this way, is since we're going to be doing predictions for a World's Strongest Man, I don't even look at anything less than world level if that competitor has World's Strongest Man under his belt. So, for example, Tom Stoltman has World's Strongest Man under his belt here. He has 2019, he has 2020, 21, and if you take a look at just the world level shows, he's a 96, which is a lot higher than 82.39. So I'm thinking about, for guys like that, Brian Shaw and so forth, who have plenty of world level comps, you look just at those because we're trying to predict how they will do at a world level comp. For someone like Mikatoro, for example, who hasn't, done World's Strongest Man, for example, you have him in the Amatra Showdown, you have to use that show as your data because you don't have it. But I think if you have it, you use it. That's what I'm trying to think about doing instead of averaging together all the shows and using the multipliers. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do when I get to the actual predictions. But if you did that, then Tom Stoltman would actually be second to Martins Litzes. And Martins beat him in the Inverstone load last time they did it, so you could argue either way there. Coming up next on the list, we talked about Mika Toro already. Trey Mitchell, also a monster Atlas Stone lifter, and Trey's rating is 74.36. He did it at Giants Live North American Open in 2019, Festival de Homme in the same year, and then at the world level, Trey is around the same, a 75 rating. So for him, it wouldn't make a difference really which one of those ratings we used. So 2019 World's Strongest Man, 2021 World's Strongest Man in both Shaw Classics. He did Atlas Stones, doing very, very well in 3 out of those 4. Alexei Novikov next on the list, and his rating is 73.19. So Alexei Novikov did Atlas Stones at 2021 and 22 Europe's Strongest Man, Ukraine's Strongest Man in 2020. And then if you look at his rating at the world level, he is actually a little bit better. So he's a 77.52 at the world level and a 73.19 overall if you count the ones that aren't world level. So that could say a couple of things. 1, he gets up for Atlas Stones a little bit more at world level. Or 2, my algorithm's a bit off, and the multiplier I'm using to ding people for less than world level competitions is too much of a multiplier. So it could be either way. So that's why I think if guys have plenty of world level experience, I look just at that. And then he has like world qualifier level, like the Arnold UK, Giants Live Strongman Classic, the World Open, Arnold South America in 2019. And so when you see all of that, it kind of comes out to around the same ranking. But I think we're going to go with this one for Alexei. Next down on the list is Maxime Boudreau, who you could argue isn't the 5th or 6th best stone lifter in the world. He's the 2nd or 3rd best stone lifter in the world right now, after dedicating a year of his life to really get excellent at it, after JF Caron really gave him the feedback of, if you want to be world's strongest man, you have to be good at stones. So Maxime did Atlas Stones at the Giants Live North American Open, incredible score there. 2019 Festival de Homme, that one actually brought him down a bit. Canada's Strongest Man. And then if you look at him at just the world level again, he's up a little bit higher than his overall rating because Canada's Strongest Man gets dinged quite a lot for being a national level and not a world level. So 75.83 is likely where Maxime will fall when comparing his rating to the others. Ivar Schmockstellis comes away with a 71.59 rating, and Ivar's did Atlas Stones at 2022 Europe's this year, and the Amatras Showdown in 2020, 2019 Festival de Homme, 2020 Zaviscus Classic, and then if you look at just his world shows, again, he's a bit higher, 78.75 there, and that's comprised of 2020 World's Strongest Man, 2021 Shaw Classic, 2021 Wuss Dubai and Strength Island. And then he also did it in the Giants Live Strongman Classic last year, not doing quite as well there. Kelvin de Ruyter is next on our list, and Kelvin doesn't have any what I would consider world-level data, so we have to use what he has here. That rating comes out to 68.97, and that's comprised of the 2022 Europes and a couple of SCL shows, Holland and Serbia in 2019. So his actual performance may lean a little more toward Europe's because that's more of the crop of competitors that he will face at World's Strongest Man. So we'll see how we end up grouping him and how we think he'll do there. Konstantin Janasha comes away with a 59.01 rating. He's 56.84 at the world level, so even a little bit less. So you can kind of decide whether we want to do that average across continental shows and world shows. I would probably say yes, because a lot of the competitors at Europe's Strongest Man go to World's Strongest Man, so it's a bit of the same peers. So I think we'll probably leave him as is, 59.01. Luke Stoltman next on the list with a 58.08 rating, and Luke Stoltman did Atlas Stones at Europe's Strongest Man 19, 21, and 22, and then at Britain's Strongest Man 19, 20, and 21, and then at the world level he's a 53.05, so a little bit less than what his aggregate overall is. That's what you would expect typically. So unlike some of the other guys, which are anomalies, you would expect someone to go to a regional type show like Just Britain and do a certain level of excellence and go to a world show and do a little bit below that. So that's, Luke's kind of performing by what the math would expect. At the world level, he did Atlas Stones at 2019 World's Strongest Man in Wuss Dubai, 2020 Shaw Classic, 2021 World's Strongest Man, 2021 Wuss Strength Island, and then also a few of what I would consider qualifier level shows, which would be Giants Live Wembley in 2019, the World Tour Finals in that year, and then the Strongman Classic and World Tour Finals in 2021. Next up on our list is Pavlo Kordiaka. So his rating is 57.41, and a lot of that is because he doesn't have data for world-level Atlas stones yet, right? So he did it at Europe's Strongest Man, coming mid-pack there. Official Strongman Games last year, he did very well, but then the official Strongman Games is what qualified him to Giants Live, and then he did this Giants Live show after that, and did, you know, considerably lower in his performance against his peers than he did at OSG. So, you know, you'll want to take that whole average into consideration. I think this average is indicative of where he would be against world-level opposition. Evan Singleton with a 54.39 rating. So Evan Singleton did Atlas Stones at Giants Live North American Open 2019 and Festival d'Homme in the same year. At the world level, he was at the Shaw Classic, and so his rating there, this is the second Shaw Classic, 2021, last year. Not a great finish there for him, but some world qualifiers to bring his average up. The 2021 Arnold UK, Giants Live Strongman Classic, the World Open, and the World Tour Finals, that grouping of Giants Live shows last year where he did very well in most of them. So overall, 54.39 for Evan, a bit, you know, up and down, but I think that's where the aggregate lands for him. Adam Bishop is a 52.03 rating on my block strongest algorithm, and the reason being, he did Atlas Stones in Europe's Strongest Man 2019 and 20. Then he did Britain's Strongest Man 2019, 20, 21, and 22. Doing very well there. Again, that gets moved down a bit because it's a regional level show. And then his world finishes a little bit lower than his overall aggregate. So 48.68 at world level shows. His overall is 52.03. So, you know, we may lean a little bit more toward this, which is comprised of 2019 and 20 and 21 World's Strongest Man, as well as the 2020 Shaw Classic for him and WUS Strength Island in 2021. He also has some world qualifiers, so Giants Live Wembley, World Tour Finals, Strongman Classic, World Open, and World Tour Finals from last year as well. Adam competed a lot last year, and so then that's where I think he falls. Kevin Ferris next on the list with a 51.94 rating, and Kevin did Atlas Stones at 2019 Festival d'Homme, at the 20 and 2021 Shaw Classic. Both of them did very well last year, not so well the year before, and then did very well at the World Tour Finals, scoring 70 rating there last year in 2021. Eithor Melstead with a 48.33 rating, and that is comprised of 2022 Europe's Strongest Man, which was this year, Iceland's Strongest Man last year, World's Strongest Man, and WUS Strength Island last year as well. So a 48.33 rating. For Eithor at the world level, a 40 rating, a bit lower. So those kind of lower level, I don't want to call them lower level competitions, it's still a continental show and a national show, but those competitions boosting his overall rating a bit, so we'll see kind of where we want to lean when we do our predictions. Pa O'Dwyer with a 45.87 rating, and Pa did Atlas Stones at 2020, 21, and 22 Europe's Strongest Man, 2019, 20, and 21, 2020, 21, and 22 Britain's Strongest Man, and 2019 and 21 UK's Strongest Man, 21 UK's Strongest Man last year, and 2019 UK's his best finishes in Atlas Stones. And then if you look at just sort of world level or world qualifier level for Pa, it would be a 34.55. So he drops off dramatically when you're getting to that really, really elite level show. Mark Felix, so the Ageless Wonder, has a lot of data, and as we can see, 43.29 is his rating. So he has done Giants Live North American Open in 2019, Europe's Strongest Man in 2019 and 20, Britain's Strongest Man in 2019, 20, 21, and this year, 2022. And you can see like a bit of up and down. 2019 is best Britain's year, and then kind of got down to a lower level after that. World qualifiers, he's a 43.85. So that's, you know, if you look at that compared to his overall, it's pretty consistent. It's pretty close. So he's not getting any extra boosts or dings from doing regional shows and so forth. And then at the Masters official Strongman Games last year, you know, competing against Masters, he did very, very well. 70 rating there. Gabriel Pena with a 43.08 rating, and Gabriel did Atlas Stones at the 2021 Shaw Classic, a bit lower than mid-pack there. And then the 2021 Giants Live World Open and World Tour Finals, sort of around mid to lesser than mid-pack there as well. So 43.08 rating for Gabe. Rob Kearney comes away with a 43.02, just slightly less than Gabe Pena. He did Atlas Stones at 2019 North American Open, 2021 was Strength Island, which I would consider world level, but he did not do well at all there. And then world qualifier levels, which would be the 2019 Arnold Australia and Giants Live Wembley, where he did better. So you would take all of those into consideration. He's like very up and down, unfortunately, as you look through these different contests. So I think that aggregate is going to be, we don't need to adjust it. Like, it takes into account all the highs and lows of these different shows. Gab Bilton comes away with a 38.05 rating on Atlas Stones, which he did at 2020 and 2022 Europe's Strongest Man, 2019 and 21 UK's Strongest Man. If I remember correctly, he won both those shows. He's won more than one, maybe not 19. And then at Giants Live Strongman Classic and World Open in 2021 as well. The Strongman Classic, not that good, and in the World Open, much better. So bit up and down for him as well, but 38.05. Gabriel Rayom is next on the list with a 37.61 rating. He did Atlas Stones at Canada's Strongest Man and the Shaw Classic in 2021. A severe drop-off for him from a national show to what I would consider in the Shaw Classic a world-level show with the best in the world there. So pretty severe drop-off there. 37.61 may even be a bit generous, unfortunately, because of the severe drop-off when he got to a world-level competition. So we'll see if we want to go with this or weight the Shaw Classic a little more heavily than Canada's Strongest Man. Shane Flowers with a 37.21 rating, and Shane did Atlas Stones at Europe's Strongest Man this year, and then Britain's this year and last year as well, so you can see how that all panned out for him. He actually did very well this year at Britain's, so maybe Shane, as he gets into more and more shows at the top level of Strongman, kind of really on an uptick with Atlas Stones, so we'll see. This rating may be unfairly low for him given how the pattern is improving dramatically over time. Nedzman Beskovich comes through with a 25 rating, so he did Atlas Stones at Sweden's Strongest Man 2019, where he did not do well, and the Arnold UK 2021, where he did a little better, but still lower than mid-pack there. Coco Korobov comes away with a 23.75 rating, so I have Atlas Stones for him in the Arnold Australia, where he did not do well, unfortunately, and 25 rating there, so he'll be lower quarter, lower third, as far as what we can expect. Bobby Thompson, a 23.61 with Atlas Stones, so he was in the Giants Live North American Open 2019 with a kind of lower quarter performance there. Same year, Festival de Homme, a poor performance there as well. Then he did Beerstone really recently, which he did very well with the Atlas Stones. I don't know what the weights were, though. And then at the world level, he's 23.89. So the Shaw Classic is here, Wuss Dubai is here, and Wuss Strength Island is here. So just to remind you, none of these mean any of these guys are bad Atlas Stone lifters. These are points earned out of points possible, so it's strictly in comparison to their peers. It doesn't mean that they don't lift very heavy Atlas Stones, just to remind you how the algorithm works. So that's all the data I have for everybody with Atlas Stones. Mitch Hooper has been training them really tough as well, but again, not a lot of competition data for him, so it'll be a little hard to try to slot him into the groups and see where I think he'll do, but, it's okay, because there's 3 events where I know he's really good in, so at least I can try to get those right, so we'll see what happens. But that's all the data I have for the 2022 World's Strongest Man athletes competing this year, the lineup for 2022 World's Strongest Man, and what they have done in their recent past in terms of how they rank against each other in Atlas Stones. I hope you found this information useful, and it'll help you to formulate who you think will win each of the groups when they are announced for 2022 World's Strongest Man, and who will advance to the finals. Thanks again for joining me, and of course, until next time, as always, ciao, homie.